Butterflies return someday.
It's a dangerous thing. Some teachings are very, very, very dangerous. Now, when a society teaches men that their validation requires access to women's bodies, women's minds, and women's spaces, it transforms basic boundary setting, just basic old boundary setting, elementary stuff, into an act of political defiance. When we hear in news reports that the saddest news, that a woman, perhaps her child, perhaps other people who love her, are no longer with us, we pile on if we have heard something like, and she was denied a protective order, or she was denied assistance, some sort of assistance from the police, and that's valid. Many people believe they would stand with a woman when she needs protection. They believe that. It's, self-image thing. But character isn't revealed only in moments of obvious crisis. It's revealed in whether you respect women's reasonable safety concerns long before tragedy occurs. Now, if you routinely dismiss women as paranoid, prejudiced, hateful, or just like irrational, paranoid, or so, I already said that, for setting boundaries, you're actually demonstrating just how difficult it can be for women to obtain protection in the first place. And that denial, we think, when someone is gone, we look for, wait a minute, were they denied a protective order? What did the police do? Did she call the police? All of that. But all of this denial, it starts long before anyone enters a courtroom at all. As some of you know, I spent many years as a court advocate. Basically, someone who goes in and helps victims of domestic violence. Usually after a police report, we get a police report or something like that. You try to make contact with the person who's harmed, and see if they could use some help working their way, navigating through the system, or just have some emotional support, or just to let you know that I'm going to help you navigate the police, the law enforcement, social services. And one of the things that used to make me so angry is I'd escort a woman to court, help her with the whole process, right? And for so many years, judges would look at women, and this is across a lot of demographics, race, socioeconomics, all of that. And if they perceived a woman as being strong, and for them, a lot of times strong is, whether or not she could use a weapon. Was she law enforcement? I talk about, on We Survive Abuse, when I talk about female vulnerability, I talk about how, I remember a small, tiny, and I mean tiny, park ranger woman. She comes in her uniform, and she and I are talking, and we're getting everything together. And because she knew her way around a shotgun, as the judge put it, she didn't get the order of protection. And so I would see these women who had maybe a black belt. Maybe she has a black belt. Like I said, maybe she's law enforcement, something like that. And the perception would be, hey, she can take care of herself. This, even if the man or whomever she, was in relationship with would say, hey, I'm going to harm you. As certain as to, as the sun comes up, this is what I'm going to do. And she was, she'd be denied. That's one of the prejudices you run into. The thing about patriarchy is that it's manipulative and it's deceitful. It has deceived and convinced men that women are not humans. We're not a distinct half of humanity. What we are is a landscape. They have a natural right to homestead, to conquer, to cross, and occupy at will. It's so easy to see a case on the news, to know someone, to watch a true crime case, and to kind of Monday morning quarterback and say, why wasn't this done? Why wasn't that done? Why didn't that happen? And in that, all that why, not see yourselves. Not see ourselves at all. Many people do imagine that they would be the person who believes a woman in danger. They believe that they would support reasonable safety measures, or they would grant protection when it's needed. They would be the one who, if a woman was running down the street, handcuffed, and it looked strange and she looked like she was running for help, I would pick her up. I most certainly would. I would be the hero. This is how we see ourselves. This is how we see ourselves. But those same people may dismiss or minimize or ridicule or laugh at a woman's concerns who says, wait, I'm concerned about my safety. They would be the person who would just decide that she doesn't need any help. There's a well-known pattern that we talk about in discussions of violence. People often demand certainty, receipts after the fact. But meanwhile, they criticize precaution beforehand. So women are told that they're overreacting for avoiding a situation. Right now, we're having a national conversation about being the only Black person in your group and whether or not that's safe. People who don't know anything about what that's like are telling other people who do know what that's like that they're overreacting. And that's just how this goes. So wanting a woman-only space, refusing to be alone with a man she doesn't know, because that's a safeguard. I refuse to be alone with a man that I don't know extremely well, or any other protective measures that she takes, are ridiculed in much the same way as women being denied protection from the police department, from the courts, from the landlord who won't make concessions, from anybody else who won't help save a woman's life. Now, if something later happens, then we'll say, oh, she was right. And those precautions may suddenly seem justified. Now, the underlying issue is that prevention requires taking risks seriously before harm occurs. You have to believe that women know their own bodies, that they know the settings that they go to frequently. They know the design, the structure, the exits. They know all the vulnerabilities. You have to take all that seriously. Protective orders, safety planning, and boundaries exist because waiting until violence has already happened defeats much of their purpose. It's a process. It is a process. Getting some men to discover, to the point of discovery, that a woman's privacy, it's not a personal insult to him or anyone else. What it is a sovereign right to herself. Women stay guarded. We walk through the parking lot guarded. We get out of our car guarded. We get in the car, we make sure we're guarded. We do everything guarded. Why? Not often because we've done anything to anybody. Because let me tell you the difference in how men have to safeguard and how women have to safeguard. When men harm and end the lives of other men, it has to do with them feeling bothered by something that they perceive that man haven't done to them, whether he did or didn't. I perceive that you did something to me, that I was going on with my life and you did something to me. Women, it's got to be way more broad, like very, very universal. This is why we don't listen to y'all when y'all say not all men, because it's got to be so universal, because a woman doesn't have to bother anybody. Most times she doesn't. Most times when a woman is harmed, it's because she didn't want to be bothered. The most dangerous time in a domestic violence relationship is when the woman leaves, i.e., I don't want to be bothered no more. So now she walking around, she don't want to be bothered, and now all of a sudden somebody has made her enemy number one. That's how it is with us. You know we don't want to be bothered. We don't want you to talk to us. We don't want you to say nothing. We don't want to be bothered. I've articles, talking about how women get harmed because, hey, she didn't want to go out with me. She didn't say hi to me. She didn't smile at me. She didn't do this for me. And it simply meant not being bothered. You walking down the street, somebody thinks you're cute, or somebody thinks that you should say something to them, or somebody thinks, like we keep telling y'all, somebody thinks they are entitled to be in your space where you're indisposed. Somebody thinks they should live with you. You said no, they think they should. So I say all this to say sometimes, if we could examine ourselves, because I personally believe that's what this journey of life is about. If we could examine ourselves, are we really are we really those people who would take a woman seriously when she says, I have fear, or not even fear, I have concerns, or I don't want to do this? Or have we built up the superhero in our heads? And the superhero in our heads would do that. But the superhero isn't real. In real life, we wouldn't do anything. In fact, we would work against any woman saying, no, I don't want this. No, I don't want to be bothered. I don't want you around me. I don't want a relationship with you. I don't want to give you my phone number. I don't want to smile. I don't want to be around you. I just want to be safe. I want to get up in the morning. I want to make it to the end of the day. And then I want to start again tomorrow. That's it. Sometimes it's not about who other people are. It's about who are we. The erasure of women's spaces begins the moment we treat a man's discomfort at being excluded as far more meaningful than a woman's need to be safe. That is for her to survive. This is Tonya GJ Prince. Thanks for listening. Y'all be great.